The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Does the film match up with what Damien Woody said about a couple of young New York Jet players? We'll talk about that and the latest from Jets OTAs. It's the Jake Asman Show. Joe Blewett is stopping by. Let's hit it and get it started.
We sitting in here, we're excited as hell.
Now it's time to get to work. Are you a happy guy?
Oh my goodness, let's go!
I haven't felt joy talking about the Jets in a long time. When they announced it, I went, yeah! Let's go! A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now. Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. It is indeed the Jake Asman Show, presented by PrizePicks. Before we bring on our guest, Joe Blewett, how about a big-time announcement? It is official. We are headed to Nashville, and I am hosting the Gangrene pre-party at Barstool, Nashville from 4 to 7 Saturday, September 12th. I'll be live during the pre-party. We'll have special guests that will be joining me. This event is free. All you need to do to join us at Barstool Nashville, if you're making the trip to watch the Jets and the Titans to open the year, all you need to do is click the link that is in the description to lock in your spot. The event is 21 plus. Barstool Nashville is a tremendous venue, and I'm glad that we can officially announce this. It is going to be a ton of fun. So RSVP if you're coming to Nashville, week 1, Jets Titans. We have a tailgate I'll have more info on when we get closer. But for now, RSVP to join us from 4 to 7 for the Gangrene pre-party at Barstool, Nashville, the day before the game. With that, we say hello to our guy, Joe Blewett from Jets X Factor. Joe, Jets Titans, week 1. You can feel the magic in the air.
Yeah, huge game, and that's a perfect party city for you to have your meetup at. I would say I've been to a decent amount of stadiums. It's probably my number 1 or 2. So for the people who have not been there before, enjoy it. And obviously, even if you have been there, enjoy it. But it's an awesome city.
Were you there 2 years ago when the Jets won?
I was there in the year that McCown. It was I think Darnold was injured, maybe, or no, it was McCown. It was the McCown year we played there. And I think I was there that year, or it was Darnold's rookie year. It was 2017, I believe it was, when I was there. But no, not last year or 2 years ago.
I'll tell you what, it's a great town. I was there for the draft in 2019. So any Jet fan who's on the fence about going, join us. And hopefully we all watch the Jets the next day. Get to 1-0 on the season against Robert Saleh. Couple programming notes. Tonight, the Jets Collective is live on the air at 6:30 on the Jets Collective YouTube channel. So if you're watching this right now, either live or after the fact, go to the Jets Collective YouTube channel if you want a detailed breakdown from Rich Cimini from today's open OTA practice. Plus, we'll get into how the Myles Garrett and the A.J. Brown mega deals impact the Jets, among a bunch of other topics. So that's coming up on the Jets Collective. That is live on Tuesday, June 2nd. That is tonight at 6:30 Eastern time. Many of you watching this will be watching this after that show airs, so check it out when you're done watching this show right here with our guy, Joe Blewett. Joe, I want to play you some sound from former Jet, friend of this show, friend of Will Parkinson's Turn on the Jets podcast, Damien Woody. This was D-Wood talking about the Jets offensive line. I'm going to play you the first clip, and then we'll talk about it, because these are some interesting comments from a guy who obviously knows what a good offensive line is supposed to look like.
Continuity that they're going to have on the line is going to be tremendous, because that's something that the Jets haven't had a lot of over the years is continuity with guys up front. They've invested a lot of assets, on the offensive line now, with Olu and Membou and Tipman, and those guys should be the cornerstones of the offensive line for years to come. And as long as those guys can continue to play together, to me, that unit, in my opinion, should be the best unit on the team. And if I was speaking to those guys right now, I would tell them, like, this team is going to go as far as they go. They got to be the tone setters of this whole thing. If they do that and embrace that, shoot, this team could be damn good, because there's a lot of pieces on offense that this team can work with.
Let's just start with those comments there about the offensive line. You're studying the film on all these guys and all units of the team. How would you assess the Jets offensive line, given the fact when we talk about the Jets, we say, well, the offensive line is pretty good on paper for Geno Smith.
Yeah, I think they're really one piece away from it being like what should be a guaranteed top 10 offensive line. I think anything less than near like top 12, this is disappointing, or would be disappointing. We have a weak link, and obviously in Myers, but I think past that, you're looking at Fashanu, who should be plus average this year. Tipman, in my opinion, was the second best offensive lineman on the Jets last year. So he's already very solid. Membou. Listen, like, I do a top 25 every year in the offseason, and Membou, like, predictively is going to be my second best Jet on the team in 2026. I think only Garrett Wilson right now is going to be better than him in the 2026 season. So he's obviously a stud. And then Parham's a guy who I would say I'm a little bit higher on, I think, than the consensus of fans. So you're looking at an average level player there. So you have a bunch of either plus average or really good pieces for the most part, minus Myers. So if it's not a very good unit, it's going to be a huge disappointment. And like you heard DeMario talk about a couple of days ago, like, it starts with the run game. It starts with stopping the run game in football on defense. And obviously, if you want to establish that run game on offense, we need an offensive line to dominate. And you're just hoping with some semblance of a passing attack with a threat of Geno's arm, even though he's not, prime Aaron Rodgers or anything like that. Just the fact that he will throw the ball deep. You can't stack the box with 7-8 guys consistently. And if you do, hopefully the Jets burn them, which is something that obviously could not do last year because Justin Fields could barely complete a forward pass. What was it versus the Broncos? We had like negative something yards, right? It's like negative 50 or whatever the hell that was. So the offense will go as the offensive line dictates.
I mean, if the Jets at this point don't have a top 10 offensive line by the end of the year, unless there are just catastrophic injuries, I'm going to be disappointed, Joe. They've invested too much in this unit for it to not be that level of offensive line. We're talking about 2 premium picks at each tackle spot. We'll get to Membou. We're going to do a film breakdown on him in particular, just to show how impressive he was in his first year. And you look at Tipman, I think he's still an ascending player that I hope they ultimately extend before the season. No matter how anyone feels about Olu Fashanu, he's still a young player who's only going to get better. Like, you've invested too much for this offensive line to not be one of the better units in the league. I don't know if you've heard of the tomato can theory, but I've heard NFL teams talk about this before. If you have 3 good offensive linemen, and as long as the other 2 are not just tomato cans, awful, you should have a pretty good offensive line. And if your quarterback is competent, that's enough to win in the NFL.
Yeah, I think people look at other teams and maybe like overrate the talent other teams have. Like, most teams have a weak link or 2 on the offensive line, which supports the tomato can theory. I would like to be a little bit greedy and really shore up center, so that then every single player you have is either average or better than average, which would make for probably what should be close to a top 5 offensive line, but the floor should be bottom 9, 10, or like near the 9, 10 range in terms of the offensive lines in the league. So yeah, they invested a first round pick, right? In Fashanu, we traded down, right? So he ended up being 11 or 12. Membou was pick 7. Tipman was top of the second round. You gave Parham not a huge contract, but a starting level contract. So yeah, no, they've invested plenty. Like what he said, they've had some continuity now, which is part of the reason, not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons I keep Tipman at guard, is to not screw with Membou either, because you get used to the guy next to you. So I think he's better at guard regardless, but then also with Membou playing next to him, I'm not moving Tipman at all. So you have continuity there. I think Parham maybe has less of a high ceiling in terms of like play-by-play than a John Simpson, but he's very consistent, or he should be very consistent next to Fashanu, so that might help him out a little bit more. So yeah, anything less than near the top 10 would be disappointing for me. And I think the ceiling you could be talking about potentially top 5, especially if Fashanu takes leaps that I expect him or hope that he makes. We'll do him in our breakdown too. I'm a little bit lower on what Fashanu did last year than some other people. But with that being said, he's 21, 22 years old, going into his 3rd year. So I expect some development. But if Membou, who we'll talk about, continues to progress, you're talking about potentially an all-pro level player. Like he was probably a top 10 right tackle in his first year. And he's young as hell still. So I'm very, very excited about that right side specifically.
I'm glad you teed me up perfectly, because this was Damien Woody specifically talking about what he saw from Armand Membou during his rookie year with the Jets.
Thoroughly impressed with Armand Membou as a rookie. I looked at him and then I just started thinking, I'm like, golly, that dude looks a lot like me, when I was playing, just big dancing bear type of guy. Didn't need much help at right tackle, like being able to displace people, attitude, brings an edginess that the offense needs. Think about this. You saw all of that stuff in year 1. Imagine what he's going to be in year 2. That's usually when you make your biggest jump, is from year 1 and year 2.
Check out the full interview that Will did with D Wood. It's really good. And I definitely recommend it if you're a diehard Jet fan like we all are, watching and doing Jet content in early June here. But look, I thought Membou was exceptional last season, Joe. I really do. And it goes back to his first game, right? I mean, he was put through the ringer week 1 against TJ Watt in his debut, and he shut him down. And Myles Garrett, who got traded, Myles Garrett did absolutely nothing against Armand Membou when they met in the regular season at MetLife. I mean, I was blown away with how good Membou was. If the Jets weren't trash, I think he gets Rookie of the Year votes if they were just relevant.
Yeah, again, predictably, he's going to be the second best Jet on the 2026 Jets. So I'm very high on him. You saw some really, really high level plays from him. And we'll look at that. Some stuff you do not see rookies do. And this is no offense to Damien Woody. Like, I think Armand Membou is going to be better than Woody. I don't know if Woody ever made an all-pro. I think he's a pro bowler maybe once or twice, but I don't think he's ever an all-pro level player. And to me, if Membou reaches his ceiling, you're talking about a top 5 right tackle for many, many years. So 2-3 all-pro selections, 5 or 6 Pro Bowls. And this is obviously me not saying that this is definitely going to happen, but I'm saying if he reaches his ceiling, that's what he could do. And his first year was a hot start towards being that player, because I was more impressed than I thought I would be. And I was high on him, I was high on him coming out of college, and he only impressed me more than I thought he would.
So Damien Woody made a Pro Bowl in his career, won 2 Super Bowls, of course, with that team up north, but he never made an all-pro team. And I think you're right, Joe. I think Membou has that type of production. I'll tell you who agrees with you. Josh Myers, this team's starting center. He spoke to the media after OTA practice today. This was Myers talking about Armand Membou.
Membou has the ability to be like great, like one of the greats. There's a lot that needs to happen between now and then, but he's got the talent, he's got the mentality. He's a heck of a player.
The best tackle that I ever saw play for the Jets in my lifetime as a fan is DeBrickashaw Ferguson. The best lineman, I would say, is the late great Nick Mangle. But specifically talking tackles, I think the best I've seen in my lifetime rooting for the Jets was DeBrickashaw, for how consistent he was. Plus, he was a left tackle. I'm telling you, Armand Membou, if he's healthy and builds on what he did, he's got a chance to be the best offensive lineman we've seen put on a Jet uniform over the last 20, 25 years. He was that impressive, as you'll show on film coming up here in his rookie season. Yeah. And again, this is not to discredit Fashanu, but Brick, because Brick was great and he was very consistent, but he was never like the best. Again, and maybe Jets fans are going to argue with me, but I think, typically Jets fans wear those green goggles. I don't think he was ever like the top of the top. I think he was near the top 5 at times, maybe even close to the top 3. But he's more like Fashanu, where he's very technical, but not the most physical, not the most dominant run blocker. Membou has that power that Brick and Fashanu can only dream of. Like he could be really, really dominant in the run game. He's farther along as a pass protector. He was coming out of college as well, and some people misconstrued that because they saw a 4 or 5 game highlight against Oklahoma, and now he's automatically a good run blocker. That's what happens on Twitter. But
Membou is very, very far along as a pass blocker, but his just physical capability to move guys in the run game, both Brick and Fashanu just do not possess. So I think he has a higher ceiling than both of those players. And obviously, hey, listen, I'll sign up for a Brick career right now with the consistency, the Pro Bowls. He was here for every game, all that stuff. So I'm not trying to discredit him as a player, but in terms of ceiling, Membou's to me is undoubtedly higher.
3-time Pro Bowl selection to Brickashaw Ferguson. So I certainly would take that, but I think Membou's ceiling could be even higher than that. So only time will tell, but I feel really good about him after his first year. If you're watching the show live right now, please click the like button and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. If you tuned in late, again, we officially announced it to the general public. Our event the day before Jets Titans in Nashville. Spread the word to anyone you know going to the game. The party of all parties for Jet fans will be at Barstool Nashville from 4 to 7 the day before the Jets Titans. All the info is linked in the description. Lock in your spot. It is free as long as you RSVP. At the end of this show, we're going to raffle away a Garrett Wilson jersey, or how about your pick? Breece Hall, you want him? Gino, DeMario, David Bailey, Omar Cooper Jr., Kenyon Sadiq. You pick the player. That is what's up for grabs at the end of the show. Just get the membership or send in a super chat or Venmo me Jake-Asman to qualify. All right, Joe, I'm excited to see some Membou film here. Usually when we did Jets film this past year, it was brutal, but we got some positivity from one of the young studs on this team. So whenever you're ready, let's pull up the first Armand Membou clip and just show people why people like yourself, Damien Woody, Josh Myers, are so bullish on what he could be as a player going forward.
Yeah. Actually, hold on. Let me change it up really quickly, Jake. And I'll share my entire screen. It's a lot of good from him. I'm definitely more nitpicky than a lot of other people out there. So I don't really have a ton of criticisms of Membou. Now there were some like mental lapses and stuff that showed up, and there are some weaknesses even in the past game that we could talk about. But again, in general, for his rookie season, I was super, super high on it. So yeah, more than glad to show some film. Most of it's going to be pass protection, I believe, but just let me know when we're good to go.
We could see you. We see the screen. And for those who are unaware, Membou is the right tackle in all these plays.
Yes, I will circle him every single time so you can see where exactly he is. But yes, the mammoth at right tackle is going to be Membou. But just a very, and again, we'll run through these relatively quickly just because we have like 10-ish plays of each guy, so I don't want to spend too much time on each guy. But he does a really good job on this play. One, he's jump setting the defensive end here because they're running a play action, so you have to sell it like it's actually a run block, and he does a really good job of
that's Son Reddick.
Number 7, yeah. So he was number 7, right, with them?
Yep.
No, 5. Was he 5?
I'll look it up, but I think that might be Reddick there.
Yeah, okay, that might be 5.
He wore 5,
Jake. Yeah, that looks like it's 5.
Yep, he wore 5, so that's him.
Him versus Membou versus Reddick. So jump sets him, right, because we're looking at play action. Comes to balance as he's getting into contact, right? We don't want to be overzealous. We don't want to get on our toes. Lands the right hand with good timing. This is what we call a snatch and trap. So snatch him, right? Grab him, extend him, and now when he starts to extend, Reddick is going to naturally start to lean back into Membou and use force against force, but Membou knows, okay, I have him extended. He's starting to lean into this hand. So when he leans into that hand, a lot of his balance is very dependent on that hand. It's like you leaning into a wall. And if your hand was chopped down, you'd kind of fall into the wall. So he's heavily leaning on an arm. Chop it down. We're going to see him get off balance here. He then refits the hands and completely stands up Reddick on this play. So really good hand usage as a rookie here. Quickly jump setting, snatching, and trapping Reddick, who is at least a decent pass rusher. So a good start for Membou there. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to skip this one real quick. We'll go to the next. We'll go to 25. Pancake in the pass game for Membou on this one. This is him. I don't know who exactly this is, but the D-end right here, we'll watch it and we'll talk about it a little bit after. With him just straight pancaking guys in the pass game. It was very fun to watch last year, but another play action here. So he's going to jump set. He's going to get on the defensive end's toes quickly just to sell that run game. Again, good timing with the right hand. Hand lands directly into the chest of the defensive lineman. Good base from Membou. Gets the extension. The defensive end is just going to try to turn the corner right here on Membou. Feels Membou leaning into him. Membou does a good job of leaning into him and putting a lot of pressure on him up the arc. Again, plenty of space right here for Tyrod Taylor. He has 8 yards right there. This defensive end is feeling, okay, I'm not going to win this rep versus Membou. I'm going to try to spin to the inside. Membou stays attached, throws him to the turf, allowing Tyrod Taylor to underthrow a deep ball that should be a touchdown. I believe was this one. The ball was late and it was way too high for Josh Reynolds, but
that was at that
really
game.
good. Ugh. Yeah. I believe it happened back to back, or maybe not back to back, but one play and then there's like a run play and then another deep pass that was late. It was like the flea flicker or whatever it was.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but great block by Membou on that one. I'm going to show you a quick one with some of the hand usage. So this is kind of a technique. I call it an overlap technique, and it's something like a vet savvy type of tackle does. And it's very quick and it doesn't look like a big deal on this play. But what's happening here is he starts to set out to his right to Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick drops back into coverage, right? So there's really no other threat out here for him to block. So instead of just him kind of covering grass here, he steps back to the inside, uses that overlap technique, which is basically like a tag on Tippmann, letting him know, hey, basically I am here. Stay a little bit more inside to your left. I got number 90 here outside to your right. Picks up 90, lands the right hand into the chest on him again. Feels 90, again, now leaning into that long arm, defeat that arm, right? If a lot of the balance is dependent on this hand and you could chop that arm down, specifically at the elbow, because that's where your arm naturally breaks, do that, does exactly that, chops the arm down, now he's off balance, overtake the block. So it's like little things like this is what can help out your teammates with a guy who's confident in pass protection using that overlap technique. Now 50, which is Vita Vea, has two hands on him or two bodies on him instead of just having one. So just little things like that Membou does in pass protection for a rookie or is very, very impressive to me. So let's see this one, play 28, Membou trap. Yeah, so this is one against 90, which is Barrymore, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken on who exactly that is, but another example of him pass protection pancake right here for Membou. And whether this be he feels the bull rush coming or just based on film study or the rest of the game, knowing that this guy typically leans into his hands very quickly, Membou doesn't even engage with him. He just knows those hands are going to be out there, or he feels them coming, feels 90 starting to lean into those hands or going to lean into those hands, double chops the hands down. Now 90 has nothing to counteract that, no balance there, shoves him to the turf, lays on him, play is completely over. For, again, a rookie just completely cleaning guys up in the pass protection game. It was really, really fun to watch with him. Just a high-level pass protector at this point, which is what you want. In a rookie who's a top 10 pick, but he was even far and above that. So here, another trap technique on 94. I think this is a pass play. So another play where we're looking at, okay, play action, selling the run here, works down to 94. Another situation where he's really good at kind of feeling guys lean into him, gets hands on, feels 94 leaning into that left hand, and he uses, I can't tell if he uses it's either a cuff technique or he just chops that arm. Regardless, he defeats that inside arm, which he's leaning into a lot again. Another play where this is not where you want to be as a defensive lineman. I'm not even meaning like that, Jake. I'm not even trying to get the calm your freaky down here, but being in a situation like this, let's wind it back a few frames. This is not the spot you want to be in on that play. So I'll move to the next one. This one he's actually beat.
Hey, congrats on the sex.
This one. So he's actually beat here. This is not something I see a lot of guys do, even in their second, third, fourth years. Not a lot of guys possess again, for the nerdy people out there, like slingshot technique in their arsenal. But he's beat here initially, and then he uses a slingshot technique, which we'll talk about what it is after. But it's a really, really, really good recovery from Membou here. So let's watch it again. He gets beat to the inside, and then what he does there is, again, that slingshot technique. So he oversets here a little bit. Right, 40 times or 41 times it well and crosses his face. But what that slingshot technique is basically just using their momentum against them. So what you're going to do with that slingshot for Membou here is you're going to grab the V of the neck or wherever you can on that jersey. You're going to pull him forward while also pushing his back. So you're quite literally using that momentum and kind of just literally pulling him towards it. Yeah, you're basically throwing him to where he's already going, but it's going to make him off balance because he's leaning heavily into it. So grab that via the neck, rip him forward, push him forward. You're going to see how it gets him off balance, and then he spins, gets back in on the, he doesn't spin. He works back to him, gets back in on the block. There's not a lot of guys who use a slingshot technique in general for a rookie to do that at 20, 21 years old. I know offensive line is more, again, it's a very niche position. It's really for the nerds out there. This is high level stuff, not even just for a rookie, just for anybody in general. So very impressive play right there for him. I got 2 left of the good, and we can get into some of the bad if you even want to touch on the bad. Membou combo block right here on 90 with Ruckert. I believe, yeah, it's a combo with Ruckert on this one. Does a really good job. We kind of talked about what a wrench technique was in the last stream. I believe it was with Sadiq blocking, but he does a really good job here of it's basically hand placement that he does excellent job here with. So they're hitting this run to the outside, obviously with like a zone toss, and what he does here is combos with Ruckert, good leverage into the block, right? Good leverage, rolls the hips. He gets his right hand into, again, the chest here. The left hand is nice and tight into the hip. You want to drive the hip, not higher than that. When you attack the hip, you're attacking the center of gravity, and that's what creates movement. The right hand stays in front, and then what he's going to try to do is like swivel his hips in front of him to have that play side leverage. He wants to win this C gap. So working through the right into the chest, puts the left into the small of the back right here, ends up again extending with the left and extending or straightening with the left, straightening with the right, gets in front of that gap, torques him to the ground, pancake in the run game there, I believe, on Barrymore. But really, really good hand placement, strength, working the feet, positional leverage, eventually wrenching him to the ground, all excellent from Membou. And then this is one in his second game against Joey Bosa, who is injured quite often, but still a good player. And it's little things that can win you a rep here. And you can see him start to feel this bull rush out. He gets into a vertical set. And as
week
Joey
2, by the way, like think about that.
Week 2. As Joey Bosa does a good job of working angles, right? Like he's going vertical, heavy inside angle in that bull rush. Membou is initially vertical setting, and then he feels that bull rush coming. So we're going to see him. He like throws his ass back here in preparation for that anchor. If you get caught high like this in a bull rush, for the most part, you're going to be screwed. So he feels it coming. Good hand placement into the shoulder, preps the anchor, hops back into it, locks up Joey Bosa, giving Fields enough time to get rid of that ball. So really, really high level hand usage, really, really high level, like overlap techniques, slingshot, wrenching guys. There's a lot of little stuff he's doing that you do not see from guys his age. So that's the good of Membou. Do you want to do the bad? We can pass the bad. There's really not a lot. What I could say with Membou, just specifically from the bad, I can just kind of wrap it up. There were some mental lapses, right? Like the one play, if I'm still on the screen, like there's a few plays where like he just didn't move at the snap against Miami and gave up like a pressure and stuff. Like you saw some of this stuff with Membou. And then I would say in general, in the pass protection game, what he needs to work on is at times his outside hand can be too high, and then his hand ends up slipping over the outside shoulder of guys. And he can overset slightly, but there's really not a lot of issues with Membou. So we'll stay with the positive. We won't recap any of the bad, because I do have to get into some bad of Fashanu when we get there.
I like it. All right, hit the like button. Joe Blewett is with us here. We opened our show talking about the comments that Damien Woody made about the Jets offensive line and specifically Armand Membou. So we had to do a little Membou film review when we get Joe Blewett on our show every Tuesday. Our first super chat is from Julian, who says, I'm delusional and I'm calling for 10-7 and a wild card. Joe Blewett, Jets go 10-7 and are one of the wild card teams. What percentage chance would you put on that?
Oh my God. What percentage chance on 10-7 wild card? Probably like 5 to 10%. Is that fair? Does that sound Is that too low? Is that too high? What do you think? I'm at 6-11 right now, so
that's where I'm at as well. I actually think, I don't know, 15%. I was gonna go 15 or 20. 20% kind of feels too high. I don't know, 15%.
That's a pretty good shot,
right? The 20% is like, well, I mean, 20%.
Yeah, because if you're talking about 20%, then what is, 7 and 10 has to be in there, 8 and so you have to move up. So I think 20% is probably too high. I'll stick at 10%. I would love to see it happen. But realistically, I'm basing a lot of my record prediction on how just dreadful Aaron Glenn was last year. Just being realistic with Reich and with Musgrave, they haven't had success in quite a few years, each of them. And then Geno Smith is a huge upgrade over Fields, but you're still talking about most likely a bottom 10-ish quarterback in the league, right? So if gun
it really comes down to Geno, right? Like Geno can mask a lot of our head coach concerns if he has a really good, like if he plays like he did for one of those years in Seattle.
Yeah. Gun to my head, I'm saying 6 wins. I would say 7 before 5, but 10 wins is a lot. I would love it though. I'm rooting for it like nobody else. Again, people think that the negativity sells and people click on YouTube videos because of that, but that is unequivocally not true. So 10 and 7 would do one good for me mentally, and my pockets would be lined a little bit more as well. So I'm rooting for it.
Jetta, let's go.
Yeah, baby. Geno Smith, we believe.
They wrote me off. I ain't right back though.
Let's go, Geno. We believe in you, Eugene. Hit the like button if you're joining us. We only have 198 people watching, but we only have 63 likes. The math is not mathing. Plus, jersey giveaway, end of the show. Pick the player you want, Jet fans. Garrett, Brees, Geno, DeMario, Bailey, Cooper, Sadiq, your choice. And we will select a winner on the Wheel of Champions at the end of our show. Before we get into our next film breakdown, as we get to Olu Fashanu, I want to tell everyone that we're presented by PrizePicks. Game 1 of the NBA Finals tomorrow night. Here's my first prize pick lineup for Game 1. Brunson, more than 23.5 points. Hart, at least one made three-pointer. Wemby, under 27.5 points. This is $20 to pay out 65. If you put $5 in and use the promo code HMA, you'll get $50 available in lineups. Again, check out all my prize pick picks by following me on my prize pick feed at Jake Asman. Shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring our show. All right, Fashanu. Joe, you said something to me off air that you're not as high on his season as maybe some are. We're going to see why as we get into some of the film here, but super high on Membou. And now we get the other offensive tackle who the Jets used a premium pick on, Olu Fashanu, who just wrapped up his second season with the Jets.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed in the lack of jump he made. I feel like he was a very similar player in 2024 to 2025, so I expected a little bit more of a leap. Again, how do you quantify it? I didn't watch every single left tackle in the league this year, so it's more just like a general guess. I think he was closer to average than he was to like being some superstar. Again, a gun to my head, 16th, 17th best left tackle in the league, and it's not to say he can't improve. He's 22 years old, right? But I was just a little bit disappointed in the lack of consistency as a pass blocker. We kind of all knew that the run block stuff he would struggle with a little bit a few years into his career, because he really needed to develop that even at Penn State. But there were some pass protection woes that I did not expect from Fashanu. Now, it was more specifically early. He got better late into the season, but I think I would expect a bigger leap from in the 2026 season. If not, I'll be relatively disappointed in Fashanu. So I know people were throwing out lists and stuff and where's Fashanu and all that on their list. I think he's like hovering towards the top 10, but I'm not even sure he'd be my top 10 right now if I made a list.
Interesting. Are you putting rookies on your list or not counting rookies?
Yeah, I think when I do my list, I'll probably count rookies. I would think.
Yeah, if you're not counting rookies, I don't see how he's not top 10.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me here. So I'm just trying to think. I'm Jets roster. So we got Garrett Wilson's in my list. Membou's in my list. Fitzpatrick would be my list. Demario Davis would be in my list. Brees Hall, McDonald, Tippmann. I might put Briggs and Sweat above him. So he might not be in my top 10 actually, once I actually sit down and do a list. I think I would rate Briggs, Sweat, McDonald all above Fashanu right now. So it might be close.
Interesting. All right. Well, let's see the film while you feel the way you do.
Yeah, I'll pull it up. Let's go to we'll do the positive first, because I don't want to just completely dump on Membou or anything like that, because there was definitely some good in this season as well. Most of the problem comes from, and we'll talk about it in the negatives, he does the same pass set way too frequently, where he punches with his hands almost the same exact way every single rep, and guys started to time it and feel it out a little bit. And then I'll show you some reps of like him versus Membou. A lot of his reps, and again, these are the good reps, you're going to see his helmet bouncing up and down, where Fashanu, you want to, after you get out of your first step, like you really want to keep your helmet on a level plane, and it just kind of speaks to like how well balanced your feet are and the separation of your feet and stuff. There's a lot of like pads raising up and down with Fashanu, heels clicking, oversetting that I did not expect, paired with his hands being the same almost every time. And you'll see guys start to time it in some of the bad plays I put up. But I have 6 positive that we'll do quickly. I have 6 negative of Fashanu. So we'll do the 6 positive first, him versus Highsmith. He does have patient hands and quick feet. And he does a really good job here of catching this ghost technique from Highsmith, where he throws out that arm for Fashanu to kind of swipe at it, and then he pulls it away in hopes that it's going to make Fashanu off balance. But Fashanu does a very good job of just having patient feet, getting into his vertical set. And then what he does on this play, and it's what I talked about with Membou, is, again, to really create movement, you don't want to start attacking guys in like their shoulders and their chests, for, chest, yes, but like in the upper half of the body and just in general, because you could absorb like contact in the upper half and your base stays the same. But when you attack the hip or the ribs, that's what really creates movement here. So Fashanu does a good job, creates a lot of distance on that first step, right? We can see how athletic he is there. Again, is patient versus that ghost move. And I love how he catches it. Really good hand placement into that hip again, lean into him, drive him up the arc there, giving Fields enough time to step up in the pocket, and get the ball to Garrett Wilson, who sits the route down right there. So really good job of him catching that ghost technique on that play. The one thing I think did improve for Fashanu, I think his play strength improved from 2024 to 2025. And you can see it on this rep where his anchor definitely got better. And on this rep, you can even see a little bit of how high he could play in the pass game. He is a little bit high here, but the anchor snaps in pretty quickly, where the defensive lineman actually does a decent job of turning back into him. Both of his hands are inside on Fashanu, but Fashanu hops back into the anchor, locks him down relatively quickly, and there's really not a lot of ground he pushed right here towards Tyrod. So this is an example of where he improved, and it was specifically just lower body strength. And I expect as he ages, gets stronger, the anchor is going to get even better. But an example of where he improved is specifically that anchor that you see right there. Play 22. This is patient hands, which he had quite a bit of. And this one, he does like a fake set. So he does have some really good pass reps on film. And if you could see this one, do you see how he kind of like pumps his head right there at number 2, which is Chubb, right? And 15 was Phillips. But he comes out of his stance here in a jump set, and then just like, what did I just do right there? Hold on. He kind of just fakes he like fakes Adam with this movement right there really aggressively, which gets Jalen Phillips to think, not Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb to think that the hands are coming. He goes to chop an arm that is not there now. Fashanu, again, patient hands, then lands the hands on him, again, attacks that hip, creating that movement, and he slips because of it. So really, really good pass set with that fake jump set on Chubb, and then good hand placement makes him slip and lose balance and ends that pass rep. Let's see another one with this is a fake punch from Fashanu, right? Setting towards 41, more of like a 45-degree set. And typically, again, just we have like jump set, 45-degree set, vertical set, and there's some sets in the middle of those. But that's typically the 3 sets you're gonna be talking about. And on this one, he takes more of that 45-degree set towards 41, throws the fake punch. Now 41 thinks that hand's going to be there, right? Tries to time it, work to the outside, double swipes the hand that's not there, or chops the arm that's not there. Fashanu pulls the arms again. Good hand placement, works them up the arc again. So very good with the fake nod to Chubb, and now the fake punch to that defensive end right there. And then let's see, I got 38 and 40. So we got 2 plays left of the positive. The good combo block from Fashanu. right here, which the run game, again, was not something that was a huge positive for him, but this is a very good play where I think he had a better understanding of like combo blocks in this past season. I don't think one-on-one blocks he was great, but I think combo blocks he was definitely better. He uses what's called it's called a ricochet technique here, where basically he's going to drop the left foot off of the instep. The right foot's then going to be towards the target, attack the hips. But what's really important here on a combo block, what are they running? They're running like a zone toss to the left side here, and he's climbing to the mic. So you got the Mike, the Will, the Sam. He's climbing to the mic after the combo block. Does a good job of keeping his eyes up to his target and staying square to your target. You don't want to overcommit your lower half because then it's going to be very hard for you to get vertical here. So it doesn't overcommit the lower half. Ricochet technique, hand inside. Works the D tackle into Simpson, making Simpson's life easier, climbs to the second level, gets hands on him. Really, really good combo block. Now, the run doesn't work out for other reasons, but this is a very good combo block from Fashanu with all of that. Then we have a play versus him, versus Myles Garrett, who just got traded. So timely. Luckily, we do not have to play this guy this year. That is great news for the Jets because that's the difference maker in that game potentially, because he is the best he's probably the best defensive player in the league, in my opinion, at this point, which isn't a crazy opinion, but he is just an absolute freak of nature. So I'm happy we do not have to play him this year. And he does a good job with his hands here, again, with the patience, gets out of his stance quickly, right? Nice and damn, I did that again. Patient hands from Fashanu, right? Garrett thinks the hand's coming out, goes to chop something that's not there. Now Fashanu goes to punch, but Myles Garrett kind of steers to the outside where it's more of a hard angle inside. Now he's going outside. So Fashanu's hand doesn't land either, but he has good balance, not leaning too much into it. Individual hand usage, left, nope, doesn't land. I'm not going to get off balance. Then land the right into the shoulder. But like I said before, we don't want to start pushing the upper body to create movement. So he refits it into the rib, nice tight arm angle, and handles Myles Garrett one-on-one on that block, which is obviously impressive because you're talking about a guy who broke the sack record. So
and he didn't have any of them against the Jets.
Yeah. And I think the week before he had 5, right? Or 4 or something like that. It was like I'm pretty sure it was a crazy week before that as well.
Might have been 6, right? Against New England.
Was it 6? I know it was a crazy amount because I'm like, he's gonna get close to the sack record versus just the Jets and the Pats or whoever it was. But a really good rep there.
Hey, real quick, Peter Castro. It took 41 minutes, but he's the first person to enter the Asmaniac raffle today. And he wrote in, Jake, Joe Blewett is your best guess, smart and precise. How about that?
Shut up. Let's go.
I appreciate that, Peter. It's a little bit, I know the film shows are a little bit more niche and there's definitely people who just fast forward over the first hour, but I appreciate that nonetheless. I do. And with that jersey giveaway, Jake, is there a possibility for a D'Angelo Pons jersey?
I have not seen Pons available yet, but I could, if you win, Joe, if you enter, whenever Pons is available, we'll make sure we order one for you.
The thing that sketches me out a little bit about that is I don't know if he's going to land on 23, but Pons, if I was going to buy anybody, might be the guy. Or honestly, maybe it's Membou.
Well, the first round picks you feel good about because they appeared at the rookie, symposium, whatever that was a few weeks ago. So those are pretty much locked in. The non-first round picks, they could always change their numbers.
Yeah. No, it sketches me out with 23. He's a little bit smaller, so smaller guys with smaller numbers. So I think he may end up switching to a single-digit number after Brady Cook is 3. Maybe he gets cut, and then you have 3 there for him, unless Omar Cooper takes it. But nonetheless, I would say safest jersey on the Jets team website right now, minus the legends, is probably Membou. If I was to recommend any jersey, it's probably Membou at this point. But the bad, am I still on the screen? Yeah, I'm on the screen. Okay, so oversetting. This was one of his biggest problems, was oversetting, where for the most part, and again, it's dependent on the rep, it's dependent on exactly the set. Is it a vertical set, 45-degree set, whatever it may be? But for the most part, we want to stay as square as we can to the line of scrimmage, right? So even when we get vertical, we want to keep our hips square, because if we open our hips too early, it's going to be hard for us to then do a 180-degree turn and get our hips back inside. So for the most part, we want to stay square to the line of scrimmage. Secondarily, Head wants to stay at a similar plane as it is after you get out of your stance. You want to keep your feet, for the most part, not clicking. And our outside foot wants to split the crotch of the defender you're setting to. That's like general rules for the most part. That's not a catch-all, but that's typically what you're going to find. Fashanu oversets the absolute hell out of this play. Now, I know it is play action here, and you want to take an aggressive set towards them. But what you cannot do is allow him to get inside. No diddy there. You can take an aggressive angle towards the defensive end here, but you have to maintain an inside-out relationship, because the quickest path to the quarterback is through the B gap. So you cannot invite him to the B gap. Again, get aggressive here, but again, like I said, with his outside foot, should be splitting the crotch at the maximum here versus whoever this defensive end is. Maybe it's Highsmith. When we're squared up like this, we are asking to get our face crossed, immediate sack on Justin Fields there. So that's a really bad overset from Fashanu on that play. We're going to see it again, and I'm going to try to just naturally bring up the helmet level and stuff that he has. But on this play, it's another situation where he's oversetting, right? Again, ideally, we want that foot splitting the crotch of the outside, defensive end that we're setting to. Here, again, you can see his helmet kind of raising up and down here as well. And you can see as his heels get clicky, where his right foot clicks the heel, next step, clicks the heel. And basically all that is when our feet are together, we're not very balanced, right? We want to stay ideally like a couple of feet apart. Even Membou here, like he gets close to heel clicking, but he's not heel clicking. And if you watch Membou's set, watch how more consistent his pad level is, where his helmet's really not bouncing, where Fashanu's helmet's bouncing a little bit. So I do want to see more consistency with the feet with Fashanu. And then he oversets here, crosses the face, hit on Justin Fields. So a problem he definitely needs to work out, which I did not think he would carry into this year, was some of the problems with the pass setting. Again, you're gonna see it here. Watch the helmet level and just like the clunkiness of Fashanu here versus versus Membou. You see how Membou's like pad level is very consistent. The feet aren't really clicking at all. And then watch Fashanu's feet, how they're more clicky. The helmet's raising up and down. And the problem here is with his punch, he very, very frequently basically punches two hands wide, where sometimes the right hand comes over the top first and then it's the left hand. But a lot of times it's left outside, like an outside hook, right outside hook. And he gives his chest up a lot. And his hands are very late, which can be good, but guys started to time it where he's very high. He's very high right here. His feet are clicking a little bit. Again, a little bit of an overset. Time the punch, stab into the chest, cross his face, getting a hit on Justin Fields. So I want to see the feet be more consistent with him. There's probably Sean Bennett on the chat shitting on me for criticizing players.
He's not even in here.
He's not in here. Okay.
Sean Bennett.
Sean Bennett. That's my biggest foe right now. Me and Yo Holmes made it up, but me and Sean Bennett I have a vendetta now. Pressure allowed. This is one where you're going to see this defensive end. Is 13 over Sean? I forget who 13 is. I'm not the best with all the other teams at times, but again, you're going to see his punch. It's very, very frequently right hand wide, and then left hand comes in like catch a guy. But a lot of times guys started to time it because he just did the same thing over and over again, where you see 13 kind of delay it here. He delays, waits for the punch, clubs him, beats him across his face, gets pressure on Justin Fields. And again, look at the feet in terms of they're a little bit clunky here. And then watch Membou, like how much smoother Membou looks. The helmet's on the same plane, where Fashanu, again, a little bit up and down, feet clicking. We do not want that. Times the punch, right over the top, left kind of scoops and catches guys, club, arm over, pressure. Two more plays of Fashanu. And I'm specifically showing stuff in the pass game because this is where I expect a little bit more of him. We're going to see the similar punch again, left hand wide, right hand wide. He needs to shoot into guys' chest more so than taking more of like catch technique type of sets. So sets towards 54 here, 45-degree set, starts to get vertical. Again, hands come wide. 54 times it, long arms him. So now he doesn't really have a strong point of contact, right? Like when he has his left hand extended into you, we don't have a strong point of contact there as Fashanu. Gets driven back right into the quarterback, hit allowed on Tyrod Taylor. So he definitely needs to improve there. And then one example of him getting shed in the run game, which we know this weakness exists already for Fashanu. But it's something he needs to improve on nonetheless. And this is actually versus our friend David Onyemata, who will do a review on.
Good find.
Yeah, we'll do a review on him in a few weeks. We're gonna do the Jets, like the late round picks, a lot of the Jets free agents we still have to do. We'll do Belton and Onyemata, Ignagbari, all these guys as well. So this is Onyemata right here as a 5-tech, and Fashanu gets worked by him in the run game. And
hey, Demario Davis said Onyemata is as good as anyone against the run. You see it here.
Yeah, he has some really, really high highs in the run game. He's very, very strong. So you're gonna see a lot of that in his review. So the problem with Fashanu here is just simply hands late, hands wide. Okay, when we give up control of our chest, it's not good. One, his hands are landing second, which we don't want. Right? We want contact first with at least one hand inside. Both of his hands are scooping from low. They land late. When we're trying to move a 300-pound defensive lineman, getting your hands onto the back of his triceps, you're going to basically create absolutely no movement. So the hands need to be earlier. They need to be more of like a direct punch, because hand placement like this is not going to be effective at all. Onyemata uses his core strength, torques him out of the way, basically lifts him off of his feet, and then makes a tackle on Breece Hall. So Fashanu, for me personally, I'm not telling other people how to think. I would pump the brakes on like saying he's a stud right now. I think Fashanu is, or at least last year was average at best, and I'm hoping that he takes steps in the right direction. But I would say I'm lower than the consensus on him, but I think I'm higher than the consensus on Membou. So a little bit of yin and yang, but it kind of evens out for me.
I like it, Joe. Excellent job, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I know some of the offensive line stuff specifically gets a little bit more in the niche, but for the people who appreciate the offensive line stuff, I appreciate you.
No, the way you could break it down, it's interesting, and all the technical O-line technique that, for lack of a better term, you break down, and you make it easily digestible for us. Non-ball knowers. There's no doubt. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Comments, questions, your super chats, cut the line. Paul says that Fields should be digitally removed from all game film. Joe, are you able to AI out Justin Fields so we don't have to see him ever again?
That is not a me thing. That is a Gator thing. I've told Jake before, we record, I am the most technically illiterate 33-year-old person probably in the world. I could barely work a Microsoft Doc. So can I digitally remove people from film? I am the absolute wrong guy for that. I suck with technology. So Gator or whoever else does all the graphics for you.
You brought up Onyemata. I mentioned the Demario Davis quote. I'll play this for you. I want your take after you watch them on film.
I don't want to make a preposterous statement, but because I played with a lot of guys, but he's easily top 5, one of the best run defenders I've ever played with. I mean, he makes a noticeable difference in the game. In our time with the Saints, every year that he was on our roster, we were in the top 5 of the defense in the league. In almost every category you look at, you go back and check that track record. Just especially at our height. I mean, he was just a big force.
I mean, how much better can the Jets hopefully be against a run this year? Because that's the whole key to allowing Bailey and McDonald to be in 3rd and long and actually let them rush the passer and hopefully get home.
Yeah, that's the hope, right? That was kind of the copium that we took after the draft, was listen, we don't need Reese because we have all these other run defenders. If they're not a good run defending team this year, we have issues with all the guys they brought in. Most of them are run first. Demario Davis run first. Onyemata run first. Ignagbari run first. Sweat run first. Harrison Phillips run first. Osai run. Well, he's kind of more even. We'll watch him in a few weeks as well. Unless we did already, I forget. But yeah, if they have a problem stopping the run, it's going to be a massive issue for Aaron Glenn. And if they can't stop the run, then you're going to have 2 guys who are 1st-round picks on the bench quite frequently, because if they can't stop the run on 1st and 2nd down and it's 3rd and 1, I'm sorry. For me personally, 3rd and 1, obviously depending on the exact situation, but like a general 3rd and 1, I don't think you have either one of Bailey or McDonald on the field. So they have to be able to stop the run, no doubt about it.
They cannot, under any circumstance, be getting gashed on the ground this year. They just can't. You cannot add Tavondre Sweat and all the moves they made in free agency, Onyemata, so on and so forth. and be awful against the run. When you take a pass rusher second overall, who we all said he is not great against the run, his strength, his superpower, to quote the head coach, is getting after the quarterback.
Yeah, again, and they need to unlock that ability for him. I'm not sure how many reps he plays this season for the Jets. I'm hoping it's near 60. I have a feeling it's going to be like 55, 60. I don't think it's going to be creeping up to like 70% though with him. But if they can't stop the run, he'll be on the field even less than I expect, which is a problem. They brought in a bunch of beefy dudes, so and even past the defensive line, realistically, whatever you want to say about.
Real quick, I'll let you finish your thought. Tavondre Sweat's nickname is Meatloaf. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, no, I did. And we did a film review on him, dude. Like, I think there's a perceived lack of effort thing with Tavondre Sweat. And I can't speak to what he did in meeting rooms on the practice field in Tennessee. I could tell you that watching him on film, I did not see one rep of him taking it off like unnecessarily. Now, you're going to have some reps of a guy who's 366 pounds. And when the rep is completely going the opposite way, he might take off a little bit. But there was nothing egregious there where I watched him on film. I was like, yeah, this guy lacks effort. Again, I can't speak to the meeting rooms, practice field. I've never heard anything like that from a legitimate source for Sweat. So I think people tend to look at Sweat and say 366, he's lazy. I can just tell you, I saw no examples of that. So I would not be as worried as some other people. But Sweat is an absolute monster in the run game.
So this was Harrison Phillips earlier talking about David Bailey.
Twitchy, and I want to claim him from Stanford more than Tech. And I've really liked what he can do as an athlete on the field, not just with his hand down in the dirt, but the different varieties you can do with somebody who can also run and change direction at elite level. Obviously, he can chase down quarterbacks, but there might be some other players he can chase down in space, which really helps you.
I mean, look, the one thing I think Glenn got right was the Dunbar hire for the D-line. I think this unit in totality will be well coached, which should help.
Yeah, you're hoping so, right? Dunbar has, and I think the Steelers have been very, very good in the run game in recent years as well. So, yeah, that's where it starts. I agree with Demario Davis in that sense, where it's really where football starts is in the trenches and controlling the run game. So adding a guy like Sweat should help a ton, and he's a guy who can rush the passer as well. I'm really excited about him. Again, I think he'd be my top 10 of players for the Jets right now. It's kind of hard. Like, he only plays 50-ish% of the snaps. So do you knock that against him? I'm not sure. But again, I wouldn't overemphasize the lack of perceived effort thing with Swex. I do think I didn't see it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Castro says, Jake, put Joe in the raffle. So far, Joe Blewett now has 2 entries. Peter Castro, what a gentleman.
Jet up. Let's go.
Joe Blewett. How about this? I'm going to give 5 memberships, and they're going to Joe Blewett. 5 memberships for Joe Blewett, having the unmitigated gall to give us a detailed offensive line breakdown in early June. This is for Joe Blewett. Let's go.
Are you a happy guy?
Oh, my God. Let's go.
Yeah. I see an offensive line coach in here too. He's giving me some credit. So I don't know if he's actually an offensive line coach, but if so, I appreciate it. But yeah, I'm gonna have to throw my name into the ring as well. And it might be a delayed prize where I'm gonna get, maybe it's just Membou though. Maybe after talking all this stuff about Membou,
if you win,
I'm gonna throw my hat into the ring.
Yeah,
I'm gonna throw it into the ring in a couple of minutes.
So 5 memberships from me. Here's who got them. Mikhail Jackson, Bruddocks, Seattle Jets, Good Call Jamal, and 7th Gen Boy, all receiving a gifted membership. Reminder, so in addition to the jersey that will be up for grabs at the end of the show, we also have a new set of weekly raffle prizes. Got 4 prizes this week. Knick fans, in honor of the NBA Finals, we have a Bernard King signed jersey. That is our top prize. Plus, signed Wayne Corbett end zone pylon, signed Joe Klecko jersey, and a signed Richard Todd jersey, all up for grabs on the show. Let me give some love to the Poon Man. Major Poonage gifted 5 channel memberships. Speaking of Poon,
I only worry about one person's penis, and that's mine. So everybody else's, I don't really care.
Thank you, Joe. Major Poonage is in for 5. And wow, Joe Blewett, the leader in the clubhouse this episode, 5 gifted memberships from Joe. Hit it.
Sadiq, certified freak. Just got off the John. Oh yeah, we're running.
Joe Blewett gifting 5. Here's who got him. If you hear your name, you say thank you, Joe. 2 Blaine Damage, Asta Meester, Vicious Nito 3-4, Capsize 7, and Savage RC 8-4, all receiving a gifted membership there from Joe Blewett. Hawk wrote in earlier, Zach Wilson would cook with this protection. What could have been? Joe, would Zach Wilson cook with the Jets' current O-line?
What is Zach Wilson doing? Is he even rostered right now? I know he's in the Dolphins last year, right?
Third stringer on the Saints, I believe.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, I don't think so. Man, and the thing about that was, like, wasn't there 22 GMs who were interviewed, and all of them or polled or whatever, and all of them would have taken Zach Wilson as well. So it was a bad year with the with COVID happening, them not be able to bring him in, potentially see his mindset, like how he responded to pressure. Because the thing with Zach Wilson was, like, he kind of, it snowballed very quickly for him. And maybe you could have seen that at BYU if there's actually crowds allowed, and you kind of feel that out. But what a bust. But it's not a pick that, like, only the Jets would have made, right? And, like, everybody shits on the Jets for that pick, but I think Trey Lance was probably even worse in that draft, because they traded
the Niners
up for him,
wanted
right?
Zach. They wanted to trade up for Zach, and the Jets said no.
And the one thing that's, like, misconstrued too is, can we stop acting like he was only drafted because of the pro day throw? Like, he was already favored to be the second pick in the draft, and that just cemented it. But everybody's like, oh, just the pro day throw, that's why he was drafted. And it's unequivocally not true. If you go back and just track that stuff, like, he was already being discussed as a number 2 overall pick, and he just had to not fail the pro day. So that's not why he was picked, was the throw. But yeah, what a colossal bust, but it's not one that many of other GMs would not have made.
Yeah, you're spot on. I mean, think about it. The Niners took Trey Lance, who was just as bad, if not worse, you could argue. Probably better at this point because he's at least a number 2 on teams, whereas Zach is, a number 3. But the only reason why Shanahan and Lynch have jobs right now is by sheer luck that they hit on Mr. Irrelevant in the 7th round.
Yeah, no doubt. So, and it's like, with the process thing, I even understand it with Fields a little bit too, because last year when we were talking about Fields, we said it like, hey, there's not many guys in free agency who could work out to be the long-term option. Fields is the only guy who may only have a 5% shot at working out, but at least you're throwing a dart. Now, they overpaid him, but I can't kill him in the process to land on Fields. Now, everything else is obviously an issue with how that season went, and how, they didn't build a run game around Fields and whatever else. But I understood the process there, and I don't like Aaron Glenn for many reasons, but I can't kill him with the Justin Fields one either. I'm not going to try to have revisionist history. I'll be honest with how I was feeling at the time.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm going to play you right now, Joe, some film from Jets OTAs. You ready for this? Break down the highlights, all right? Because we're craving Jet football. Oh, can't play that. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. You're getting dinged.
Hold on. I played the wrong one. I had it ready. This is the video I meant to play. We don't want any Dr. Dre. That's a no-go from Mr. Tuba around here. Here we go. Here is some highlights here. A little Omar Cooper Jr. All right. We'll see whatever the film from the Jets official social accounts tells us here. We got a little Brees action, a little A.D. Mitchell, who apparently had another really good day. I'll talk with Samini about that on the collective. A little Garrett and Brees having a moment here. We're just going to let it roll here. A little Jet film. Rucker getting in on the action. What do you see so far, Joe? You're the expert.
I want to know good Ben right there, Ben Gate. I want to hear like your stat predictions. I don't know if you've done that yet, but I've seen a lot of stat predictions out there, and it's really hard. Like, if you're only predicting Geno to have 3,600 yards, 3,700 yards, to get these guys where you want them to get to, it's a tougher exercise than you think. So maybe you have to do a stat prediction show upcoming. So I want to hear Asman's stats, but the highlights are all exciting. I really started to not buy, like, dude, I'm not going to sound like whatever here, but I added, like, what was that song, Greatness by Quavo or whatever it was, after the Jets, like, Hard Knocks. Like, I was so into it, watching the Hard Knock stuff, and it just killed me. So I try not to buy into the hype, but it's exciting to see them on the football field again. The next month gap of not seeing them at all is going to kill us, but it is nice to see them running around in only, shorts and stuff, but still, it's nice.
Braylon Allen, man, he's Mr. June. Anytime there's no pads, he's just running around. He's a physical specimen out there.
Can I make? I'm leading the campaign of Isaiah Davis as the second best running back on the Jets team, because he is currently. I think Allen has the highest ceiling, but in terms of who's produced more, who's been more consistent, Isaiah Davis is unequivocally the better player at this point. So everybody hypes up Allen, but nobody gives any credit to Isaiah Davis.
Hold on, I got to rewind here. Look who made a pass deflection here. Get ready for the Jamie and Sherwood comeback season. Boom. Sherwood making a play. Yeah.
The problem is that speak more to Gino.
Was that Gino or was it like, Brady Cook?
Brady Cook.
There?
Yeah, let's just
we
say it was Brady Cook.
Let's
just say it was Brady Cook. Yeah, no, it's all exciting. I'll watch what is it, Flights or whatever they do, and I'll get myself all excited. But yeah, no, there's a lot of fun pieces on this offense. Even guys I think people are maybe even overlooking a little bit, like A.D. Mitchell. And I'm not a big Ruckert fan, or I wasn't his biggest fan his first 3 years, but year 4, he was actually a very good blocker. So I'm excited to see what he can do at tight end 3 as well.
Love it. Joe, thanks for your time today, man. Always a pleasure. And I know you're going to be pulling for my New York Knicks in the finals starting tomorrow night.
Yeah, no, I cannot. I'm sorry. If it was, like I said, if it was the Thunder, I would. If it was the Spurs, I have to root for the Spurs. I'm not gonna lie. And I know a lot of people kind of hated Wemby for the whole, whispering in guys' ears to take out SGA or whatever it was. But I kind of appreciate that. I kind of love the dog in him for doing that type of stuff. So I am a Spurs fan for the next 2 weeks or month or whatever it is. So I apologize because I am the bitter five net fan, or one of the 5 net fans out there. So
totally fair. Joe, You're the best, dude. And if you win, we'll have to let you pick your jersey of choice. All right. Raffle coming up at the end of the show.
Yep. Armand Membou. We will be back next week with whatever review we're going to do. Appreciate you,
Love
Jake.
it. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Blewett with us in his weekly spot on the show. I'm going to get to your calls coming up. Got the Jets Collective in about an hour, so it won't be a full 2-hour show. So load up your calls if you want in on the conversation. Want to play a little Aaron Glenn from earlier. He spoke to the media before today's OTA. We'll play what Glenn said and react accordingly. Here's AG from earlier.
Good morning. So a lot hasn't really changed from the last time we have spoke. I do want to commend the players of their participation in this phase. It really shows a sign that the guys are all in, and the phase has been good up to this point. Also, last time I talked to you guys, I reiterated exactly how we operate within these phases as far as the install is concerned. And the one thing that we've really been focused on is the detail and the execution about how we go about doing things. Because obviously the physical part is something that you just can't do within these phases. So, man, just making sure that we're on point with everything we're trying to do when it comes to the execution has been good. Just to give you guys a little insight exactly how we've been operating this week. Yesterday, we focused on really a 3rd and 2 to 6 day, which for the most part, I expect our offense to win a lot of those, which is usually tough for a defense. So defense, if we can get within 50% of that, you really do a really good job. Today will be more 3rd and 7 plus, which, again, it flips. So the advantage should be defense in this situation. And, the offense got to work their ass off to really get first downs in this. So, I want to really work those situations, make sure we get good at those situations. Then come tomorrow, we'll have a phase 2 day. And then Thursday, we get right in the red zone. So we're really hitting some situations this week, which is really good for our guys. And again, the detail and the execution of it is what we've been focused on. So in saying that, any questions?
In a practice setting, what do you want to see from the quarterbacks in a 3rd and 7 situation as far as weighing risks?
Yeah, again, usually when you just look at the numbers, that's a more an advantage of defense. So as many times as we can get completions in that to getting the first down, get our first downs is what we're really looking for. And actually just knowing exactly where to go with the ball and making sure we just don't put ourselves in a situation where we make mistakes of giving the ball to the defense.
How has it been different for you now that you're doing competitive stuff, you're calling the defense,
yeah,
as opposed to last year? And how are you balancing, I know last year you wanted to be everywhere.
Yeah.
How are you doing that?
Well, that's a good question. And that's why I lean on Duker quite a bit. The one thing I don't want to do is just try to give myself to the defense because I'm still coaching the team. And throughout the practice, I still will go to the offense and I see what guys are doing, the individual and things like that. But once we get into competitive periods, man, that's when I have the mic and actually talk to our mic backers as far as what I want to call on defense. So I do the best I can of making sure that my time is shared on both parts. But once it comes to the part of we get competitive periods, man, I got to be dialed in on what I'm calling and make sure that I put our guys in a good position to win those reps.
So that's an interesting answer there, because we all just assume, the defense will be so much better because, well, Aaron Glenn is taking that side of the ball over. But here's the thing. There's still responsibilities to be a head coach. And I think what was so concerning in year one, it's not like Glenn had the head coaching stuff down pat, like the when to use timeouts, challenges, situational football. And this is a guy who stood up there a year ago and said the last 4 minutes of each half belonged to the coach. Like, that's where the head coach could have the greatest impact, in the final 4 minutes before the end of each half. And they were horrific in that spot. I think they had the worst point differential in the league in the final 4 minutes of each half, which checks out. I mean, you just go watch the London game against Denver. That's the Aaron Glenn Mona Lisa of bad coaching. So hopefully he can handle both. If he can't, he's not fit for the job. It's bottom line. Because all the best coaches, for the most part, typically do call plays for their side of the ball that help them get the job in the first place. Here's more from Mr. Accountability himself.
Russell Wilson's decision to go into TV affect what you guys might do in that?
Nothing at all. I think the last time we talked, I had said that we were looking at a number of quarterbacks, and listen, and that's just what it was. I mean, I hopefully he'll have a good TV career. Heck, I know that he'll be good at it. And congrats to him.
Mario last week said Armand is one of the top 5 run stuffers he's ever played with. Why has he been so effective against the run throughout his career?
Mentality. That's when it comes to the run game, it's 2 things that really sticks out when you look at a defense, and that's attitude and desire. And those are 2 things that he has, and those are really easy for him. He's tough, he's physical. He understands how to use his hands. He does a really good job at 2-gapping and gap and a half. And one of the reasons why, because he plays with extension, he's able to get off blocks. So it's pretty easy for him to actually operate in that manner because of who he is. So that doesn't surprise me that Double D said that.
When you look at Minka, what do you expect to see out of him and what to bring that secondary?
Very similar to what I expect out of Double D, a veteran presence. Not just with the secondary, but just overall with the team. And he's done a good job of that. Also, playmaking ability. I mean, he's done that through the course of his career, so I don't expect that to change at all. And that's one of the reasons why we got him here. We want guys that can get their hands on the ball. We want guys that can make plays. And we also want guys that, when things break down, have the instincts to get us right back where we need to be, to give us another chance to have another play. And he's done that throughout his career, so I expect him the same.
You have a few guys like that now.
Yeah.
Minka and DeMario, you mentioned Harrison, guys that are recognized as leaders on and off the field. Was that like a conscious effort by you guys to bring those type of guys in here?
Absolutely. I think we've spoken on that quite a bit. And that was really my plan from the very beginning, going into this offseason, to make sure I surround some of these young guys with guys like that. I think it's important when you're trying to build a team that you have a good mix of that.
This should have been done last year. What Glenn is saying here is right. This is what should have been done last year. They completely bungled the entire operation in year one. It's coaching, man. It's coaching. We could take the exact same team that Saleh and company couldn't win with, and because we're Aaron Glenn and company, we're now going to win with them. They're a year behind on this stuff, and if they don't win this year, he's not going to get a chance to get his 3rd year, which will try and spin the Woody as if it's his 2nd year. That's not how it goes.
So the young guys can learn, and as they learn, they continue to pick those things up, and as they grow older, they're able to pass those things down to the other young guys. And to me, that's exactly how you want your team to be built. So, and it's not just on the defensive side, because I know you named some defensive players, not that, but even on the offensive side, we want to make sure we had guys like that. And that's what Geno does a good job of. He's been around for a long time. He understands how this league works. He's matured quite a bit. So, like all those guys, excited to have them around, what they bring to the team.
What have you seen as far as Minka's leadership style? Is he more so a vocal leader, or do you see him more so leading by example?
It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. But he does have this knack of being I don't want to say to himself, but bringing somebody like one-on-one conversations with a guy, especially if a guy makes a mistake, he does a really good job of pulling the guy to the side and explaining exactly what we're trying to do and how we're trying to do it. And then he does a good job when he has to, when it's a group of men that he wants to talk to, he does a good job of actually galvanizing those guys and explaining exactly what we're trying to do also. So he has a little bit of both within himself.
You played until you were 36, so you understand like the physical challenges of an older player in this league. So how do you explain Demario Davis doing what he's doing at 37? He never misses.
God-given, and it's not for everybody. And it's you have to give him a lot of credit, and all these guys, Harrison, Gino, all those guys that can play into their mid to upper 30s, the way that they take care of their body and how serious they are about their game, and making sure that they're there and they're accountable for being on the field for their teammates. So, again, a lot of it's God-given, but also you got to give those guys a lot of credit for how they treat their bodies as far as recovery is concerned.
Poor Harrison Phillips. I just checked his age because I'm like, why is Glenn lumping Harrison Phillips in with 37-year-old Demario Davis and 35-year-old Geno Smith? Harrison Phillips is 30. He's the same age as me. Glenn's calling him old. In fact, I'm older than Harrison Phillips by a couple months. Glenn just gave Harrison Phillips an extra 5 years, calling him old. He's only 30. Turned 30 in January.
AG, you got Adnan Mitchell kind of midstream last year here at the course. How excited are you to see him have a full offseason and kind of get him offense?
Very excited. One, to make sure that him and Gino create this connection. Him and Garrett creates this connection. Him and the offensive coordinator create the connection. And him understand exactly like how we're trying to build this thing from the very beginning, and for him to hear that message over and over again has been good for him. Man, he's a talented player, a very talented player, and we want to squeeze every ounce of elite of his athleticism to where he can help us and be able to make big plays for us because he has that ability.
I don't even think he played with Garrett at all last year. So is there some kind of value to him getting those reps without Garrett now that Garrett's back? Like opening things up a little bit.
The value with that is those guys actually being together for the most part because they can play off each other. They can understand each other's game. And when they're on the field together, just knowing exactly how each other runs their routes. So, man, they could actually play off each other, especially when they're in situations when you have slot formation, they're all on the same side, and how they're going to run these certain routes so they can get open for each other, So, again, having him, this whole time has been outstanding for us.
Take a couple more.
We didn't talk to you after the schedule came out. I don't think we asked you last week. Did you have any reactions to the schedule? Is there anything you look at when that comes out?
Play who they give us.
Win week 1. Must win. Must win. Say it, Glenn. Say it.
You were one of, I think, 4 or 5 teams didn't get a primetime game. Do you use that at all with your team to say lack of respect or anything like that?
To me, it's more of you earn the right. And yes, you can use that as motivation, but you earn the right. That's what this league. That's the good thing about this league. You earn your right.
Good answer. Use it as motivation. Absolutely.
Players, coaches, everybody. You earn your right to get what you get in this league.
Why was Josh Myers? Why was it so important for you to re-sign him? Josh Myers.
Another guy that we just spoke of veteran leadership, a guy that's been around this league that started a ton of games. And he played well for us last year. So you reward a guy like that.
And how about Gino's leadership? What have you observed about his leadership?
Well, no different than what I talked about last time we were together. And his ability to command the huddle, his ability to get guys in and out the huddle, his ability to be himself more than anything else, and be able to talk vocally, be able to let his actions speak, and to be able to be an influence as far as how he operates and how he goes about things. So, again, all those guys have similar traits when it comes to that. And listen, I'm lucky to have them.
I think Bowles said you guys are going to do joint practices with Tampa.
Yep.
And any other games, the Giants and the Steelers? Or
No, that'll be it. That'll be it. We have joint practices with Tampa. We have 2 practices with those guys, and looking forward to that. That's a damn good team to have joint practices against.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
They did joint practices with Tampa a couple of years back when Rodgers was still on the team. So that was Aaron Glenn from earlier. I'm surprised they're not doing joint practices with the Giants. It just seems like it's a no-brainer to do it. Easy travel. You play them in the preseason every year. You don't play them in the regular season this year, so you're not worried about like either side gaining some sort of competitive advantage. But I guess Harbaugh and Glenn couldn't get something done schedule-wise. Now, there was a comment here from JD. Shout out to JD Surf City, who's always tuned in. Goes, when you suck, you don't get primetime. Dumb question. I think it's a good question because the Jets sucked in 2024, and they still had 2 standalone games. 3 standalone games, including 2 primetime games in 2025. When you're the New York Jets, you're in the New York market. Usually you get at least 1 primetime game. Last year, the Jets played primetime against New England on a Thursday, and they played primetime on Monday night, week 4 of the season, against the Miami Dolphins. And they had a London game, so it's not technically primetime, but it's standalone. Jets-Broncos was the only game on in that early window, 9:30 a.m. kick. So I like that Glenn said you use it for motivation. Because the Jets have sucked, and they still would get at least 1 primetime game. So I thought it was a good question. I disagree. Paul O'Brien writes in, we've only had 1 4,000-yard passer in our history. That was done in 14 games. Come on, Geno. You'll have 17. Look, if Geno's healthy, he could throw for 4,000 yards. He's done it twice over the last 4 years. Much rather see him do it than, or see him break some Jet passing records than have like Ryan Fitzpatrick's name attached to it. Peter Castro says, still clueless. Yeah, look, I don't think anyone's going to be won over by Aaron Glenn at the podium. He's got to win games. Gator writes in, Jets got blown out in their last 5. Our 3 wins were by 1, 7, and 3 points. As a head coach, it's tough to listen to this man. Figure it out, man. Last chance. Yeah, I mean, look, they sucked last year. They were historically bad. The Jets were a 1-win team. Their special teams unit was historically good. It was like the 3rd best special teams unit since they started tracking DVOA. Like, they were not good last year on special teams. They were great. They won a game last year because they scored a punt return touchdown and a kick return touchdown in the same quarter against the Browns. They won by 7. Think about that. They won by 7, and they needed a punt return touchdown, and they needed a kick return touchdown to win. Nick Folk hit a kick from 54 yards out in the rain to beat the Falcons. Their special teams was great. Isaiah Williams was voted team MVP. Like, they sucked last year, minus the special teams unit that saved them from being probably about a 1-win team. You look at point differential, DVOA, every metric was the Jets were one of the worst teams over the last 30 years in the modern era. They were awful. That's why I was a big proponent of, he's not our head coach. Let's move on and get someone better. But they kept him. So now I hope he improves and we could have a season. If not, he's not going to be here. So, yeah, I mean, nothing he says in late May, now early June, is going to alter the opinions of those who aren't a believer in the head coach. What you hope is that whatever went wrong, they've identified, Glenn self-reflected, and he actually can now implement change. But he'd be an outlier if he ever turned out to be a head coach that won a playoff game. I don't need to give all the stats we gave at the end of last year. Everyone remembers them. All right, let's open it up to your calls here. I'm not going to do a super long caller segment, so if you want in, now is the time. About 15 minutes left in the show or so. I'm on the air tonight with the Jets Collective at 6:30. Hold on, wrong tweet. Samini sent out this tweet before, about 15 minutes ago. 1 hour to showtime. We got some takeaways from today's OTA. Rich was out there, so we'll get his eyewitness account on what went down. A.D. Mitchell had another big day. And the Jets posted this photo of Geno and AD celebrating here. So maybe we got something with AD Mitchell. Wouldn't that be something? All right, to your calls we go. Appreciate everyone. Raffle at the end of the show for those of you who want a Jets jersey of your choosing. Sadiq, Cooper, Bailey, Demario, Gino, Brees, G5. You pick. We send to you should you win. Here we go. Your call started off with this man.
Extraordinary. Extraordinary. That's extraordinary. That's extraordinary. That's extraordinary. That's extraordinary. It's quite extraordinary. Quite extraordinary. You know, women shouldn't vote. Just do laundry and vacuum. Extraordinary.
What up, Jake?
Hey, Gary. A.D. Mitchell. Hook him.
Hook him. He's still a Bulldog to me, but I'll take him. I'll take him. He won 2 natties with the Bulldogs, none with the Longhorns. Just keep that in mind.
But you guys went to the playoffs with him, didn't you?
He did. And he, yeah. And I liked him better than Worthy that year. Like they had him and Worthy. I like Mitchell. I don't really consider him a Longhorn like that.
He's a really nice kid. We had him on Super Bowl week, and he was really cool. So I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. So like 2 things real quick on the Jets. I've tried to be optimistic. Like 2 years ago, I said 13-4, we're going to go to the Super Bowl. Right? I was already buying tickets to New Orleans 2 years ago. Last year, it'll be all right. They'll be average. They'll win 8, maybe 9 if things go right. They'll be okay. Like the playoffs aren't out of reach. I don't have any optimism this year. Like I'm looking at this team. I looked at the schedule. I said 5 wins. Like I'm not trying to be that guy, but like your head coach is still Aaron Glenn, and your quarterback is Gino. Like those are the 2 most important positions in football. And you're worst in the league at arguably both of them. How are you going to win more than 5-6 games? I understand the draft went well, but how are we going to win more than 6, let's say?
Gino Renaissance here, basically. It starts with that. Like that's the biggest thing. Like Gino gives you like above average quarterback play, and Mr. Superpowers is right that the defense is like light years better than what we saw.
He got worse in 2024. He got worse in 2025. He's going to get better in 2026 at 36 years old.
Well, if he's better,
Testaverde did. I mean, so
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Here's the thing, though. They won 10 games that year. That his final year in Seattle. Like he threw for over 4,000 yards.
Yeah,
I agree with you, Gary. I have them winning 6 games, but like I don't think Gino's as bad as what we saw with the Raiders. I think that was more of the Raiders being an absolute disaster than Gino. Just he's shot. He sucks. He can't play anymore.
The other thing I wanted to ask you real quick on the Knicks, 2 points. Mitchell Robinson's pinky. Is it he's not going to play or over a pinky?
No, he's playing.
He is playing.
Yeah, okay. I saw him shoot. I saw videos of him shooting today without any cast on too. He took it off.
It's going to affect his free throw shooting.
What if he shoots better now?
Yeah, right? Jeremy Shockey had a broken pinky, and he just cut the effing thing off. Like, that's how I would be if I was Mitchell Robinson. If this is going to affect my play, just cut the thing off. I'm playing in the finals. And then the second thing, the matchups in this are really interesting because I got 2 questions. Who's guarding Cat? I heard Devin Vassell is going to guard Cat. He's a 6'6" 2 guard. That's what I heard.
He talked about guarding Brunson today. I don't think he's guarding Cat.
Okay, yeah, I've heard Vassell's going to guard Cat. Oh, who's guarding Cat? You're not putting Wemby on because you're going to take him out of the paint. And now your every switch they have is to keep Wemby in the paint. You're not going to put Wemby on Cat and have him 25 feet from the basket. So that only leaves Vassell, who's undersized, or Champagne, who's frail. Right? Vassell is strong. He's just short. You could do that, or you're going to have to pull Harrison Barnes off the bench and play him. They don't have a matchup for Cat. So, like, to me, this comes down to Cat. If this is Jalen Brunson versus the Spurs win. If Cat scores 30 a night, the Knicks win. That's how I see that going. Like, to me, the key here is Cat. On the other end,
I think the key is Hart as well, because I think they're going to leave him open, and he's got to bury them when they do that.
I'd play the 5 shooters rotation. I would put Shamet in. Like they're so. I get it. I would play the 5 shooters. I'd put Shamet. I'd give him more minutes. But
Shamet could play if like Bridges didn't shoot well in that last game against Cleveland. He was really good in the other games. Like who's ever having the off night, Shamet will get the first opportunity to come in, and you play 5 out and you try and bury him because they want Wembanyama to be like a center fielder and just roam everywhere. And so you could kill them if they hit shots.
So they're going to start with him on Hart because then he can roam anywhere. But meaning they're going to leave Hart open to shoot, which is what Cleveland did, and it didn't work. If Hart shoots like he did against Cleveland, you lose. Like it's that simple. If he's going to hit all those shots, the Knicks are going to beat you.
It's math. They're literally playing the percentages.
I don't blame Kenny for the turnovers and what they did offensively, the horrible shots, the turnovers. but defensively, I think it was the right strategy. It just didn't work. Hart made the shots, and I would have made him swing the ball at Hart too. And if Hart beats me, then I lose. But then, like, who's Brunson guarding? That's a problem too.
Probably Fox with help.
Fox gonna cook him. I mean, Castle is slow, but Castle's 6'6". I mean, it's rough. Are you gonna put him on the 6'6" guard? Or are you gonna put him on the lightning quick guard?
I mean, it's not a great matchup either way, but like, Brunson will figure out a way. He'll go out there and he'll try and draw charges like he does. They've had really good team against these players.
I'd probably put him on Castle because he might get in foul trouble trying to guard Fox. You can't have him in foul trouble. So I'd probably put him on Castle too and try to Castle. Like, okay, Castle's their second option. Castle's not a great scorer. Make him try to beat me. I guess that's what I would do. But the matchups are really interesting because there's no matchup for Cat, and there's no matchup for Wemby. So,
well, Cat's got to stay out of foul trouble, and that's where Mitchell Robinson comes in. He's going to be vital if Cat gets into some foul trouble.
Cat's a hell of a player, but sometimes he's small like a box of rocks. He gets some really dumb fouls. It's like
he's been better these playoffs though, which has been a big key.
Yeah, it's a coin. I was Spurs in 6. Nate kind of sold me on like who are you really putting on Cat. To me, I'm still leaning the Spurs. But it's more of a coin toss series. I was like more like 60-40, 65-35. Now I'm more like 52-48 Spurs. I'll say Spurs in 7 now.
I'm going Knicks in 6. Kind of made it this far.
I've heard a lot of wise people pick Knicks in 6. A lot of people, because the line is like San Antonio like -200, -205. So the line is really favoring San Antonio. Because I guess they did just beat the champs, and I guess the Knicks haven't played in a week, so it's out of sight, out of mind. But the line was a little wider than I thought it might be. But
I'm hoping it's one of those, they're too young to win. They got to go through it at first. Like they beat the champs, and that was, I don't want to call it their Super Bowl, but that was like their like they rest on their laurels a little bit, and the Knicks are the hungrier, more playoff experience, grittier team that is locked in.
I comped this team, the Spurs team, to the 1990 Bulls that lost to the Pistons. I thought the Thunder were going to beat them. And it's like, okay, you got one more, but that's done with. Michael Jordan's taking over the league now. Like, everyone saw that coming in 90. Like, I thought San Antonio was 1 year away, just like the Bulls were in 90, but maybe San Antonio is that much ahead of schedule. We're going to find out.
I just hope they win, Gary. I never thought I'd be in position to maybe see the Knicks win a title, and they're 4 wins away from it.
Well, the Nets won 10 playoff games in a row in 2003. And you know what happened to them?
Yeah, but they ran. They
ran.
Which year was that? Was that? Oh, I was gonna say, was that the Laker year or the Spur year?
That was the Spurs year and Duncan was 30, 20, and 8 blocks every. It was. They ran into Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
And it was just there was no matchup.
I mean, they were huge underdogs in both those finals.
Yeah, the Lakers, you knew they had no shot. The Spurs series, it was their second year. Like Jefferson was a year older, Martin was a year older. Like, all right, maybe they got a shot, but like they had no center, so they had no answer for Duncan. I mean, like Duncan was like unbelievable in that series, and I mean the Nets went 6, and they actually had the lead in the fourth quarter of every game, but like it was at closing time, like they had no answer for Duncan, and that was it.
Apparently, Nate wants to rumble you over one of your basketball takes.
There he is. Sorry, my internet messed up. Can you hear me, Gary?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Can you hear me?
All right, Gary. Do you want to make a bet over this series?
Yeah. I mean, what, dinner or something like that? Is that what?
Good job.
I'm not gonna put like hundreds of bucks on. I'll put something friendly.
I want you to call in. I want you to call in on a bicycle if the Knicks win.
I don't have a bicycle. So you want to buy a bicycle and then call in? What do I get? What do I? I haven't had a bicycle.
All right, what do you want?
I got a car. I haven't had a bicycle since I'm 15.
All right. Let me think of something else. All right, but we've gone over this. Gary and I have gone back and forth. He thinks the Spurs are more talented than the Knicks. I think he's completely lost. The Knicks are the much better team, and just like not like the Pacers, because the Pacers were terrible last year. And I've now gotten flack for that. But the Knicks are going to win this series and should win this series, and I'll be upset if they lose this series. They're that much better than the Spurs. I don't see, like, this was a team that people had fringe in the playoffs. Wemby had them as barely a playoff team.
Who had
going into the season? Then nobody had them as that, and they're not that great.
They're deeper than the Knicks. They have the sixth man of the year, who's not even the best player on their own bench. Right? They're deeper than the Knicks.
I don't know if they're deeper than the Knicks. So, all right, here's the look at their front line, dude. Their front line is Wemby and Luke Cornett. We went over this. They don't have a power forward. They have nobody.
They start Champagny. Yeah, they start Champagny, and they have Harrison Barnes. I
so
think
who's guarding
Barnes is gonna
Cat?
play more.
Like,
I think you're going to see a lot of Harrison Barnes. I know, I think that's what you're going to see.
that's a plus again. So, but they have to match up with us. They have to match up with us.
And who's Brunson guarding? That's Barbie.
OG's the number one defender against Wemby against with 100 possessions one-on-one in the NBA this year.
Okay.
And then Mitch is his help. Cat is help. That's how you want it. You want a long, strong wing. Hopefully, you force it far away from the basket. Wemby's not strong enough to just get to the rim. And then, but if he does, that's where Mitch comes in.
Who's
but
guarding?
They got to match up with us. Like, who is guarding Cat on that team? Champagny?
They're gonna have. It's gonna be. I heard from I have friends who are Spurs fans, and they're saying it's going to be Vassell a lot, but they're going to use other guys too. They're going to use Champagny. They're going to use, but they don't want to really use Champagny. So it's going to be Vassell. It's going to be Barnes. Might be Cornette. They're going to have to throw a lot of looks at him. They don't have. I agree with it. They don't.
Yeah,
that was what kind of
we're talking about
they don't
Cat.
have any
Like,
matchup.
they have to.
I get it.
That's what I'm saying. They have to throw. They have to throw looks at Cat, right? And we're not talking about the best player on the court, Jalen Brunson. What are they going to do? You're just going to disregard Jalen Brunson? They almost have to put Wemby on Cat.
They can't do that.
You know?
Every one of their switches is to keep Cat.
I know.
Is to keep Wemby in the paint.
So then you're going to have to double team Cat, right? You're not living with Champagny guarding Cat in the finals. You're going to have to get the ball out of Cat's hands.
It's going to be Barnes.
That's going to be a problem, right?
They're going to go back to Barnes. I don't see how they don't go back to Barnes in this situation.
And here's Gary. We didn't talk about this too. You're a boxer, right? You're into the mental game, right? Of like pre-game, whatever. Who's got the mental advantage? Did you watch the Spurs celebrate versus the Knicks celebrate?
I did. I had inside footage from Keldon Johnson's cell phone that I watched them.
The Spurs look like they've already climbed their final mountain. They look like they won their championship. They were emotional. Even post game, I listened to Champagny. Champagny said, "Oh, I wouldn't let my family come to anything, but now that we're in the finals, it's in New York. Like, he was like, I was locked in. No friends or family was coming. Now, obviously, we're in the Garden. Like, it's going to be great. Everybody, this is a dream come true that I'm playing in the finals in the Garden." Jalen Brunson didn't want to take a team picture. Like, I think, especially after what year, I think mentally the Knicks have the edge. They have a more experienced team, and they were not satisfied at all with.
Yeah, but this is not like the Nets or the Sixers who are just happy to be there. You just beat the defending champs. They're fully expecting to beat the Knicks. Like, you just beat Oklahoma City, who had 65 wins, 68 wins.
I just hate that's such a stupid statement. I was talking about that earlier. Not that I don't mean your statement's stupid. I just hate in sports when we say, "Oh, they're the defending champion." Bro, they beat Indiana last year. Congratulations. But
who beat the Knicks, by the way?
You're defending once until you lose, and you got there because you beat a couple. They're not a dynasty. OKC was not this.
They also were banged up. I mean, their second best player.
Okay,
that too. They lost Jalen Brunson, but
everyone's banged up.
The only thing I'll say though about like the difference in the celebration is like the Knicks were up 3-0, then they killed them in Game 4. So like obviously they're not gonna have like a crazy celebration. Whereas like the Spurs went into OKC and won a Game 7. So like obviously
all that's part of it. But I just mean like there's going to be somewhat of a hangover because they had to climb that mountain.
And the Knicks have the rest is differential that's gigantic. And I think the Knicks have learned. They learned from the last time they had 9 days off.
The young team, they just had 3 days off. They're fine. Like it's not like they're a veteran team who's playing on back. They're a young team who has now 3 days off in between games. I get it. I'd rather be the Knicks with all the rest, but like I don't think San Antonio is going to lose because they're exhausted. I don't think
the Knicks have barely played basketball for a month, whereas the Spurs have had way more.
And they were also they're playing. This is their first run, and they played in OKC. Like, do you remember that clip of Mitch? When he was playing defense and he was touching the heart of Jared Allen, he was like, "Damn, your heart's beating out your chest, boy. You scared as hell."
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be the entire 22-year-old roster of San Antonio. Like, congratulations, you beat Oklahoma City. Like all of a sudden, you're gonna see Celebrity Row there, and like their hands gonna be in the corner. They're already not the best shooting team. Like all this shit's coming. It's exciting because we've never seen the Knicks in the finals too. Like we don't know how that's gonna play, but like we know we have guys that have one playoff series. And all right, I like that. Gary has to eat a salad.
Eat a salad.
All right, but okay, that's fine. But what do I get? I get steaks. You pick the restaurant. If I win, you're buying steaks. If I lose, I'm buying salads. Is that fair?
All right, but the restaurant's got to
I'll
be
eat a salad. What was that?
in New York. Next time you're in New York, I got you.
Yeah.
But you're gonna eat a salad on air on Jake's show.
Yes.
I will. Next time I'm in New York, I will go and I will eat a salad on the air.
No, we'll
order
you a salad right to your home office there.
And I want you to eat a carrot, a whole carrot on Addie's show. A whole carrot on Addie's show and a salad on Jake's show, and you got a deal. Because that's 2 steaks.
Okay.
I'm buying 2 steaks. I need you eating 2 vegetables on 2 shows.
Let's go, Knicks.
Turn the fucking Jets on. Turn the fucking Jets on.
In Mike Brown, we must trust. Mike Brown's 4 wins away from being Joe Torre, from being Steve Kerr, making Tom Thibodeau, Mark Jackson, and Buck Showalter crazy. Call it out in the raffle for 5. Thank you very much. Call it out. Last call to enter. I was counting the names. Well, Nate and Gary were yelling at each other. Not really yelling, but discussing the Knicks and the Spurs. Last call. Hit it.
And here we go. Let's go. Let's go.
Jets Collective coming up at 6:30. Let me quickly say hello to Mikey Midnight. Mikey.
Hey, how you doing, Jake?
Let's go, Knicks, Mikey.
Yeah, I think Gary's jealous. He's a New Jersey Net fan. It's a Net. That's why I'm taking the Spurs like the other guy, Joe.
That's right.
The Nets don't know what they're talking about. The Knicks go win tomorrow, 123 to 117.
High scoring.
Yeah, it would be cool, right?
Hey, as long as the Knicks win, I don't care. They could win 2-0 as long as they win.
That's true, right? That's a win, right, everybody? I saw Dr. Lacarni today, and then I told him we go carry the trophy in Brattleboro and show all the Celtics fans. Hey, look, we got the trophy.
Yeah.
Hey, go New York, go New York, go! Go New York, go New York, go!
Love it, Mikey. Love your energy, man. Glad that you're doing well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, time to spin the wheel of champions. Fresh off his nap is the master of raffle ceremony.
Mr. Perfect here to tell you we're gonna have a Wheel of Champions winner today. Girls, bring me that perfect wheel.
Hey, before you spin the wheel, everything good at the DMV? You got the license all figured out? You're all set? All right.
Girls, bring the perfect wheel in here. This Mr. Perfect calls for the perfect wheel. The perfect wheel, the perfect example, the perfect plex, the perfect choice at 3, at 2, at 1, because I'm simply perfect. Roll!
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
Excellent job, Mr. DMV. Ladies and gentlemen, the Wheel of Champions, combining all the entries across our shows today. Big thank you to everyone who participated. You're all entered in the weekly raffle anytime you enter a daily raffle. Here we go. 40 names on the wheel. If you win, to claim your prize, you email me asmanjake@gmail.com. Your name, your address, player you want, color you want the jersey in, and the size. Good luck to everyone who entered. You guys are the absolute greatest. But only one can win a jersey, and the winner is the Poon Man has done it again. Major Poonage is your winner. Hit it, Beningo.
I only worry about one person's penis, and that's mine. So everybody else's, I don't really care.
How fitting. Major Poonage, you are the winner of our Jets jersey giveaway. Tune in to the Jets Collective. It starts in 25 minutes. Join me, Samini, and BT. We're talking Jets OTAs and a whole lot more. RSVP if you're coming to our event at Barstool Nashville in Nashville the day before Jets Titans. The link's in the description. All the info you need is there. We are back at it tomorrow. Nick Faria, who was at Jet OTAs today, he will join me for some of his takeaways from what he saw on the field. You guys are the best. Enjoy the Jets Collective coming up. I'll talk to you guys soon. JETS, 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 Jets. Hit it, Gator.
I was obsessed with Sadiq, certified freak. 7 days a week, has a hernia tweak. Obsessed with Sadiq, certified freak. Trying to critique what I read in Newsweek. Obsessed with Sadiq, certified freak. Trying to take a peek at his manly physique. Obsessed with Sadiq, certified freak. Time to take a leak and play hide and go seek.
Well, that wraps up our show, folks. And as Bob Barker once said, help control the pet population. Remember, have your pets sprayed or neutered. Goodbye, everybody!
Yeah, you know, B, sometimes I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go, Jets!